You don't have any Stephen King?
You've got the shinin'.
You mean shiny.
Shh. Wanna get sued?
It's just your fate. You're that geeky Stephen King kid. There's one of you in every school.
Okay, that's him, that's Cujo, that's Cujo.
I was thinking along the lines of no TV and no beer make Homer something.
Oh, crazy.
Don't mind if I do!
Hello and welcome to Tower Junkies, presented by ObsessiveViewer.com. Tower Junkies is a podcast celebrating the work of Stephen King, hosted by two lifelong constant readers. We do non-spoiler reviews and non-spoiler and spoiler reviews of King's published work and take a critical look at his film and television adaptations as well. We also discuss the latest King news and check in with each other on our ongoing King obsessions. It's a podcast where all things serve the King, and I just remembered I did not do any prep work for Stephen King news at all.
Shit, yeah.
You can find more of our work at Tower Junkies, TowerJunkiesPod.com. You can also like the Facebook page at Facebook.com/TowerJunkiesPod and follow us on Twitter and every other level of social media, meaning Twitter and Instagram, at Tower Junkies Pod. And if you'd like to support what we do here, you can become a patron at Patreon.com/ObsessiveViewer for a ridiculous amount of bonus content spread across all of ObsessiveViewer.com's various podcasts. Right now I'm doing episode reviews of Foundation on Apple TV Plus, and then I'm going to do Invasion episode reviews on Apple TV Plus. You also have that's at the $2 level. And then at the $5 level, I have what I'm calling Patreon Potpourri, where I'm kind of doing a cram session of all the 2021 movies that I need to watch by the end of the year for my critics group that I'm in. So I'm kind of doing just basically solo reviews of each movie that I watch. I've got 5 of those episodes up. Each episode has about 4 movie reviews per episode. So there's a lot of content there. Again, you can find that at patreon.com/ObsessiveViewer, and all the money that we make on Patreon goes toward paying the fees to keep the podcast running and to feed the podcast mascot, Pizza Roll. Yeah. So I'm one of your hosts, Matt Hurt, and joining me today, as usual, is Tiny. Tiny, how is it going?
Hey guys, it's going good.
Good.
Yep.
It has been quite a while since we recorded a Tower Junkies.
For real, like the longest hiatus I think I've ever had.
Just about.
Since we started podcasting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something.
It's been like, what, 6 weeks?
Like 5-6 weeks.
5-6 weeks. Yeah. Oh, geez.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Life gets in the way.
Yes, it does. Life, I don't know. Dead is better? I don't know. Bring it back to Stephen King.
Nice.
Well, it's good to be here, and it's good to talk to you and to record a podcast with you, Tiny.
Absolutely.
Yes. So today on Tower Junkies, though, we are going to be continuing our series of episodes covering all or most things Creepshow. This is the 3rd installment of what I think will eventually be 6 or 7 episodes, but I think we're going to save the Shudder series for sometime next year. So this is going to be the last episode of 2021 that we do on the Creepshow series. But in this 3rd installment, we're covering 1990s Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, which is not Creepshow, but it's directed by John Harrison and written by Michael McDowell and George A. Romero, with stories adapted from Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and Stephen King.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously this movie is based on the anthology series Tales from the Dark Side and isn't technically related to Creepshow. However, I found a Screen Rant article that kind of breaks down everything as it relates to Creepshow and Tales from the Dark Side. I'll link it in the show notes, but basically in 2006, Creepshow 3 was released. It was a movie that was directed or was created and produced a couple years before 2006, and then it was just dumped on video on demand. Had no affiliation or connection to Stephen King or George A. Romero, and was apparently a pile of hot garbage. So apparently the horror community and King himself consider Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, to be the real Creepshow 3, which is why we are covering it in this episode and in this review series.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Tiny, do you have any Stephen King check-ins or news?
I don't.
Oh,
I
really?
don't have any.
5 or 6 weeks and no
I know.
check-ins.
I know.
Interesting.
I'm terrible. I'm reading a book right now,
Okay.
but not Stephen King.
Oh, what book are you reading?
You recommended it to me
Oh.
a few years ago.
Is it what I think it is?
Probably not.
Probably not.
It is Everything is Horrible and Wonderful.
Oh,
by
man.
Stephanie Whittles Wax.
Oh, yes. Wax. Yes.
Wax. Yeah, you recommended that to me like a couple years ago.
Yes.
And
oh, my God.
I bought it, and it's just been sitting in my list for a couple years probably at this point, and
wow.
I just kind of threw it on the other day, and I am really loving it so far. So.
Nice. Oh my God. Yeah, that is a heartbreaking book.
It is.
Were you familiar with Harris Whittles at all?
No,
Okay.
not really. I mean, obviously I watch Parks and Recreation.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah. So for those listening, Everything is Horrible and Wonderful is a memoir from Stephanie Whittles Wax, who is the sister of Harris Whittles, who was a writer and producer on Parks and Recreation. He made several appearances on Comedy Bang Bang, the podcast, and he was a very funny guy. He died of a heroin overdose though in 2016, maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. And so this book is her talking about that experience of him, his addiction, his attempts at recovery, and his death and everything. And she went on to create a podcast, I think, that's all about recovery and yeah.
I didn't know she'd done that. That's great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She's really talented.
Oh, yeah.
She read it. She did the audiobook herself,
Yeah.
too, which is nuts.
Oh, absolutely.
Something so personal she could actually get through it. That's amazing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for trying to vamp, but I couldn't find it.
Okay. Well, I'm glad she's doing that because I get a very Sarah Koenig vibe from her.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Like, very talented.
Yeah.
Just good speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well spoken, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so it is Lemonada Media, I think is what the kind of network that I don't know if she started it. Yeah, she's the co-founder, chief creative officer, and host of Last Day, which is the name of the podcast.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, Last Day. I think it's I don't know exactly what Last Day is, but I think it is about like people's last days and talking about that kind of stuff. But it's really, really, I mean, that book is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. About the show, about Last Day is, let's talk about what's killing us, the stuff that's hard to comprehend and getting worse every day. Join host Stephanie Whittles Wax as she confronts massive epidemics with humanity, wit, and a quest for progress. So I recommend checking that out.
Yeah. It's very poignant because he's Harris Whittles was a victim of the opioid epidemic.
Exactly.
And I just watched Dope Sick on
Hulu?
On Hulu.
Yeah.
Which is about it's about that. It's about OxyContin and how it leads people to heroin.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of poignant having just watched that, which was okay. It was a good series. You know, so many.
Okay.
I feel like TV is just so damn good right now.
Yeah.
That almost so many things that come out are amazing. And it was just good. It wasn't amazing. Like it was almost refreshing to see something that wasn't like an absolute home run.
Sure.
Some of the storytelling and the writing was a little off.
Okay.
Just kind of some things that didn't pay off that well.
Is anyone of note in it?
Yes. Michael Keaton.
Oh, okay.
Is in it. Oh gosh, I'm blanking on her name right now. She's so good. What is her name? She's in what was that movie she was in? The Super Bad, but two girls instead.
Oh, Booksmart?
Booksmart. She was not
Caitlin Dever.
Caitlin Dever. Thank you so much. Yes. She's terrific in it. The acting was fantastic.
Nice.
But yeah, some of the writing and some of the character stuff was a little just not realized all that well.
Okay.
But
interesting.
Definitely worth a watch. Yeah. Michael Stolbarg is in it.
Nice. Peter Sarsgaard.
Yeah, Peter Sarsgaard. Yeah,
Nice.
that's right. It was pretty solid.
Awesome.
So, but yeah,
Very nice.
it was it's good timing, I guess, to start the book because
Nice.
I had all that context for what happened with how the opioid epidemic has just ramped up over the last 20 plus years, and he, unfortunately, Harris Whittles was a victim of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And man, that guy was so brilliant. He was hilarious.
Sounds like it. I've been laughing just as much as I've been heartbroken.
Yeah.
Because of his jokes and stuff. His comedy.
The section where she talks about his foam corner from Comedy Bang Bang, like when he died, I listened, like I went back through Comedy Bang Bang's archives and listened to like every appearance that he had on that show. And like just brilliant.
Nice.
One of my favorite things, and we'll get into the actual episode, I promise. But one of my favorite ones, because like Harris's foam corner is where he has like these brief train of thought, kind of conscious, like stream of consciousness kind of jokes that he kind of has like drafts for or whatever. So one of his jokes was that I'm gonna mess it up. It's too complicated, but he said something like, I wanted to take part in this. Oh God, I'm trying to think of words to replace it. It's not verbatim, but he said like, I got a good deal on a condiment deal for me and a friend, sponsored by an actress from That 70s Show. It was a Grey Poupon. It was a Grey Poupon. It was a Laura Prepon, Grey Poupon, Groupon. I'm like, that is brilliant.
That's so funny. Oh, shit.
So great. Yeah. Laura Prepon, Grey Poupon, Groupon. Yeah.
That's funny. That makes me think of like Bob Loblaw's Loblog.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah.
That's funny.
And he had another one that was really funny, but I can't remember what it was. But anyway.
Nice.
Anyway, yeah, look up Harris's Foam Corner on YouTube. It's hilarious.
Nice.
Yeah, so anyway, my check-ins.
Yeah, what do you got?
So, okay, I have 2 check-ins. I started, like at this point, like a month and a half, 2 months ago, I started the 3-part miniseries, Storm of the Century, because I wanted to do Patreon recordings for it. And I got the first one up, and then I haven't watched the second episode yet. I'm sorry, but that's at the $2 level on Patreon, patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. But I liked the first episode a lot. I mean, Tim Daly is kind of the star, and it was really interesting because, Tiny, this could have been maybe your check-in, but there's a lot of similarities between Storm of the Century and Mike Flanagan's Midnight Mass.
Oh, okay.
Which I have episode reviews on Patreon and on Obsessive Viewer. I reviewed Midnight Mass with Kim C from the Year of Underrated Stephen King.
Yes.
So check that out. But there's a lot, like for example, in Mike Flanagan has confirmed this on Twitter. In Storm of the Century and Midnight Mass, the sheriff's office is located in a grocery store because it's such a small town. Okay. And like someone had tweeted at Mike Flanagan saying like, oh, hey, was this an intentional reference to Storm of the Century? And he said, yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
So I just love that.
Cool.
But yeah, it's really interesting. Colm Feore plays this kind of demonic stranger that wreaks havoc on the town. It's really good.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'll watch more of it. But my other check-in is something that I'm preparing for Patreon. I have been reading The Green Mile.
Sweet.
Yes, in all of its serialized glory. And I want to give a shout out to Kim C and the Year of Underrated Stephen King. She did episodes for each serial section of the book because it was originally released as a serialized novel. Each month, for 6 months, I guess, there was a new section published. And so she did a kind of read along thing where she read the first section, recorded a review of it, read the second section, recorded a review of it. So all of that's on the Year of Underrated Stephen King. And then I decided to do the same thing, but behind a paywall. So I am working on this at the $2 level here soon. I'm going to release a big episode of me just talking through each section as I read it. So it's all going to be one episode. It's going to be posted on Patreon within the next couple of weeks. By Christmas, I promise. It's going to be on Patreon at the $2 level. And then at the $5 level, I'm going to hopefully have a Green Mile commentary track for the movie. So look forward to that. But I am really liking the Green Mile. It's amazing.
Nice.
Yeah. Have you read it?
I haven't.
Okay. You've seen the movie though.
I've seen the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. It's funny because like I haven't seen the movie since we were in high school, like in 2000, probably 2002, 2003.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And so I don't have many memories of it or anything, but like reading the book, I'm like, oh, I remember this. I remember this from that movie that I saw like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's a testament to Frank Darabont adapting King. It's amazing.
I haven't seen the movie in over a decade too.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
So nice. So yeah, those are my check-ins. Don't really have any Stephen King news. Guillermo del Toro said on Kingcast, I guess, that he wants to adapt Pet Sematary. So that's something.
Cool.
Yeah. Are you excited for Guillermo del Toro's new movie?
Which one is it? I don't remember.
Nightmare Alley with Bradley Cooper. I saw it like last week.
Yeah, I've seen the trailers. It does look pretty cool. And I like Guillermo del Toro for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't realize that was his movie.
Yeah.
I feel like I can't keep up with anything anymore.
Yeah.
Just because of all the I'm not complaining. I'm just saying
right.
There's so much out there. It's a great time.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good thing. It's just,
yeah.
man, I can't even keep track of who's doing what and what service it's on. What
absolutely.
It's a good problem.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a rare occurrence when a TV show isn't that good.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Like I was saying.
Like you just said. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, cool. Well, those are our news and check-ins and stuff. Before we get into our review of the movie Tales from the Dark Side, I did neglect to mention that we are also going to be talking about 2 episodes of Tales from the Dark Side, the TV series, which ran from 1983 to 1988, I believe. And so I'm going to kind of talk about, we're going to talk about those because Stephen King wrote 2 episodes of it. And so we're going to kind of hone in on those 2 episodes. I'm going to say we're not going to spoil them.
That's fine.
Yeah. They are based on, so this is interesting. So the first one, the 2 episodes are The Word Processor of the Gods and Sorry, Right Number. The Word Processor of the Gods was season 1, episode 8 of Tales from the Dark Side. It originally aired on November 25th, 1984, and it is based on a short story by Stephen King, which can be found in one of the short story collections. That I am not sure what it is, but the episode stars Bruce Davison.
Yeah.
Yes. And I will read the plot summary here shortly. Once I find this, it was so the short story was first published in the January 1983 issue of Playboy under the title The Word Processor and collected in King's 1985 collection Skeleton Crew. Okay, so the plot summary for the TV episode is struggling writer Richard Hagstrom receives an upgraded computer from his computer whiz nephew Jonathan right before Jonathan dies in an accident. Thanks to Jonathan, his word processor has the power to grant any wish that Richard desires. So Tiny, first, have you had any history or any experience with Tales from the Dark Side, the TV show?
None whatsoever.
Okay.
I don't know that I had even really heard of it.
Oh, yeah.
Before this. You know, it's speaking about television. This comes from a time where television was not very well respected,
right?
At least not by modern standards, and it kind of shows.
Yeah,
when you watch it now, extremely low budget and all that. But no, I wasn't aware of it at all. You know, I was more aware. You know, obviously I had heard of like Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah,
I remember that TV show and the movies and stuff like that. But so this was. It wasn't on my radar at all. I mean, it was off the air a year after I was born, so.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it ran from 1984 to 1988, and I think this is from the Screen Rant article that I'm going to link, but the success of the original Creep Show briefly led to conversations about adapting it into a TV series, but since George Romero didn't have complete ownership of the property, he created the TV show Tales from the Dark Side instead. Like Creep Show, the series was a horror anthology and would end up running for 4 seasons between 1984 and 1988. And I feel like we're on dangerous ground here for me, because Tales from the Dark Side, the TV show, is a horror anthology show. And one of my favorite things that I like to do with this hobby is I have a solo podcast called Anthology, where I talk about classic science fiction anthology TV shows like The Twilight Zone, and also contemporary ones like Black Mirror and Solos and stuff. It is now dormant, but I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to hopefully do, I don't want to put this out in the ether, but I'm going to hopefully do 2 episodes by the end of this year. That's what I'm committing to. And then that will bring me to literally the halfway point of the Twilight Zone original series.
Oh.
And I think I'll celebrate by having a couple other Twilight Zone podcasters on, and an Outer Limits podcaster on, if he's listening, to talk about their favorite episode from the first half of the original series, and then resume after that. But anyway, that's all to say that I have had very many daydreams of me thinking like I could do a spinoff of the spinoff of that, and I could do anthology horror.
Oh boy.
And like yeah, it's ridiculous. I'll never do it, but
Yeah.
but yeah, that's just something that if I were to be a professional podcaster, I would probably do that. Yeah. But anyway, the word processor of the gods. Tiny, you didn't have any experience with the show. Have you read the short story?
I haven't, no.
All right, so going in completely blind, how did you feel about Word Processor of the Gods and non-spoilers, and how did you feel about it?
I thought it was fun. I liked it. It was had such a King feel to it, because I feel like throughout his whole career, Stephen King has always, and you've mentioned this, that he keeps up on like pop culture, and it's usually relevant in like almost all of his stories.
Yeah.
But one thing he also does is he also stays up on technology too. And like he wrote, I don't remember when, I haven't read it, but he wrote a story called Ur.
Oh yeah.
UR, which is it was only available as a
Kindle single,
like a Kindle book, right? Yeah, like an ebook is what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
It was only available as an ebook, like it didn't ever went into print, and like that was years ago when ebooks were first coming out, and it was still very new technology, and it wasn't all that well established. It wasn't all that normal yet.
Yeah.
Like they'd only been around for a year or two, and he wrote that story, and he's always been someone who's been up with technology.
Yeah.
And it's been, he wrote Cell when cell phones were getting real big, and that book kind of sucks or whatever, but
yeah.
but still it's part of his career, and it's funny to see. Obviously this is very outdated technology, a word processor.
Yeah.
But for the time, it incorporated a very modern piece of technology into a story, and a lot of people weren't doing that.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially in horror.
Oh, absolutely. Right. And like Ur was actually, it was eventually collected in, I think, the Bizarre Bad Dreams.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yep. But yeah, it was really funny to see the word processor and just the idea of a word processor, because we're millennials.
Yeah. And
like I remember when we had a typewriter, I remember my mom like typing her resume when I was a kid, but like a word processor, that's like it's just hilarious, because like the first thing that he has to do is like install the diskette, and it's a massive record record sized like floppy disk,
right?
And I'm like, whoa, this is intense.
Yep.
And then it has the printer that's I don't know how to describe it.
Dot matrix printer.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Whatever. It's just it was kind of funny, and kind of it was interesting to see that, because I mean this was like 80, what did I say, 83?
Yeah. 84 to 88 was the show.
Oh yeah, 84. Yeah, that's right. November 25th, 1984, and it was it was something. It was just really cool to see that kind of that era of technology before like computers and personal computers and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did so the whole concept is that he's able to kind of type out something that he wants to, and it will appear, or he can delete something he doesn't want and it will disappear.
Right.
So I have a couple of questions on that front. How did you feel about the way that it's handled? I feel like it's a very nihilistic kind of like dark kind of way that he does it.
Right.
How did you feel about it?
Yeah, it was kind of dark. I was curious how far he was going to take it, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and it's like, you know, he takes it pretty far. It also has, without spoiling it, it has kind of a happy ending, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
because, again, not to spoil it, but, you know, some bad things happen to some
Yeah.
people, but it turns out good for him.
Yeah.
So it's like, is this a happy ending? Is this
Yeah.
a very, do you call it like a, I don't know, it's very selfish what he does.
Yeah.
And it benefits him, but I guess it's kind of a happy ending. I don't know.
I guess so too, and it's really interesting because he does some things that are arguably very immoral, and
right.
I mean, he kind of just gets he comes out ahead.
Right.
Yeah, so it's
Right.
pretty interesting.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. What what like do you fantasize about that kind of thing? Like, what would you do with a word processor of the gods?
Right. Well, it's not really a spoiler, but one thing he
Mhm.
does is he makes like Spanish galleons appear.
Yeah.
I would totally do that. I'd be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
put $1 billion in my bank account.
Yep.
You know, like totally. That'd be such an easy thing to do.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that would be, man, that's like it's poignant that it was in a horror show because I
Mhm.
think a power like that is scary.
Yeah.
Because I think even someone who's well-intentioned, you know, trying to figure out the logistics of it and like
Mhm.
the logic of it, like you could accidentally make someone disappear and like that's
Yeah.
a terrible thing and that has consequences and you know it's one of those be careful what you wish for kind of things.
Yeah.
I think it's like it's too powerful of a thing to
Mhm.
exist.
Yeah.
But it's a cool thought experiment. You know?
Yeah. It's the monkey's paw kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had kind of just fantasies about while I was watching it today. I was just like thinking like, okay, I would type like, okay, my friends and family all have $50,000 in their bank account right now.
Yeah.
And then just not tell them. Let it be a surprise, and then have them call the bank.
Mhm.
But and then like I kept thinking like, and maybe this is just because my apartment is a mess, but I was like, my floor is vacuumed. My trash has been taken out.
Nice.
My fridge is stocked with my favorite beverages and favorite food. And just the thought of that, like not having anything. My work for the day is completed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
If you keep it innocent like that, yeah, it could be
Yeah.
fun, but it always goes too far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My cat is a set of triplet cats. And and my cat actually likes me.
Yeah.
So anyway, Pizza loves me.
Yeah.
I feed her.
Keep telling yourself that.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it's a good thought experiment. It's a good kind of fantasy to kind of imagine how it is.
Mm-hmm. I bet the short story would be fun.
Yeah, the short story is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, do we have anything else to say about word processor of the gods?
Not much. Like I said, it's very it's almost jarring to see how low budget it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's just a quick 22 minutes.
Yeah.
That's another thing I guess with streaming and all that.
Mhm.
Like even half-hour shows are like 30 to 35 minutes, and
Yeah.
to see something again that's like 22 minutes because of commercials and all that, it's like
Right.
it's like man, you almost forget that stuff existed. I guess.
Oh, absolutely.
and it's
yeah.
I haven't watched a show like that in a while. I guess.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's pretty, and with ad breaks, like
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It makes me kind of curious to check out the rest of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then,
Bruce Davison was pretty solid too.
yeah, I thought he did well.
He's kind of a classic character actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know him most from
X-Men.
X-Men. Yeah, and
Yeah.
he was in something else. He wasn't in Creepshow, was he?
I think he was. Or I think he was in like the newer
Yeah.
show, I want to say.
I feel like
I was
he
looking through his
was.
IMDb. He's done a lot. Like
Oh yeah.
he's a very prolific actor, so
Mhm.
he's still very relevant. Like that he does a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah. I know I saw him in something and I was like, "Oh, hey, Bruce Davison."
yeah.
But yeah, he's really good. He was really Oh yeah, he is in Creepshow season 1 of the Shudder series.
Mm-hmm.
Night of the Paw. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, he's good.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk about the other episode that Stephen King wrote
Yes.
on Tales from the Dark Side, the TV show?
Yes.
All right, so this episode is Sorry, Right Number. It's from season 4. It's episode 9. It aired on November 22nd, 1987. And the plot summary is: a woman is troubled by a mysterious phone call and tries desperately to help the person on the other end of the line. So, Tiny, much like I said before, you haven't seen this episode before
Right.
this.
Yeah.
It's interesting because this isn't based on a short story by Stephen King, but it is a teleplay written by him for the show, and the actual teleplay was collected in Nightmares and Dreamscapes in 1993. Yeah, and that's just interesting because it's a script. I mean, he also went on to publish the script for Storm of the Century, but it was interesting. And I had read the teleplay in Nightmares and Dreamscapes either late last year or early this year, and I was really taken with it. It's something that is very reminiscent of the classic Twilight Zone series.
Yeah.
There's an episode called Long Distance Call where this kid played by Bill Mumy, his grandmother dies, and before she dies, she gives him a gift of a toy phone. And after she dies, he talks to her in the toy phone, and she tries to get him to kill himself so that he will go to heaven with her.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, it's a really good episode. But that's something that I've been so conscious of, is the connection between Stephen King's work and the Twilight Zone and the influence and everything. So, yeah. So anyway, how did you feel about Sorry, Right Number?
It was okay. I think it was a little less. Again, there's kind of some, for the time, modern technology with the whole like who has like a switchboard with like multiple lines in their home.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. I guess if he's kind of a successful rich writer, so I guess it kind of makes sense. But yeah, that was kind of funny because I feel like it was emphasizing the show, like, ooh, look at this, they have multiple lines in their home, and like that was a big deal back in the 80s.
Yeah. Did you ever have 2 phone lines?
Not until we got internet.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Like around the early 2000s, you know.
Yeah.
We got one just for internet and one for the house
Nice.
line. Yeah.
I just remembered. I think we've talked about this before, but I remember your home phone number.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Do your parents still have that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay,
You
cool.
can call it right now.
Nice. All right,
They'll
317. I'm kidding. No, but I remember
Nice.
it. Yeah. It's easy to remember.
Right. You guys had you and Ray had your own phone line, didn't
Not
you?
to brag, but we did. We had our own
I thought that
phone
was
line.
cool as shit
Really?
back in junior high. I thought that was cool as hell.
The idea that anyone thought anything that related to me was cool as hell is like, I'm not like, wow. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, we had these little cordless phones. Yeah. I can't remember the phone number for that.
Me either.
Yeah. 297-1816. No, I don't know. Yeah. I remember our home phone number that doesn't exist anymore, or might exist. 317-297-1214. But yeah. We had our own phone line.
Yeah, I just remember staying the night at your house in like 7th grade or 8th grade and seeing that, and I was like, that is so cool.
Nice.
Now we have cell phones.
Now we have cell phones, which is another thing that in the opening of this episode that I thought was funny. It's kind of like this episode's version of the diskette thing from the word processor of the gods. But when she's like, "Quiet down, kids! I'm talking long distance to your aunt."
Yeah, right. That was funny.
Yeah, for those kids listening, long distance was where you had to pay extra to call people in other area codes.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Oh, the days.
Different times.
Yeah.
But yeah, the episode's pretty solid. I thought it was a little predictable. I kind of was able to see where it was going. You know,
okay.
I figured that's what was going to happen. But yeah, and it's it's very campy, 80s campy.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but I mean, there's it's there's not a ton to say about it, I guess. Outside of spoilers, anyways.
Yeah, there's really not. I really liked the teleplay. Like, the experience of reading the teleplay was really cool because, like, I didn't really realize how much of it was, I don't want to say derived from, but clearly inspired by the Twilight Zone. And I think I did I did kind of expect what happens at the end, but like it was one of those things where I was anticipating it and I was like excited because it was what I wanted it to happen. Like it was what I wanted from it. And I thought that it was just a really cool story the way that it played out. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Don't really have much else to say about it.
Right. Yeah.
How'd you feel about the performances?
Pretty hammy, I guess.
Yeah.
When she's the wife is like on the phone, it's a little cringy, I guess.
Yeah.
At the end there, yeah. But it was fine. I think the little boy was kind of funny, like wanting to watch the scary movie.
Yeah.
That is based on the book his dad wrote.
Right.
Was kind of a nostalgic, I guess. I had some nostalgia from it because like I remember as a kid, like some movie would be showing on TV and I'd be like, oh, I want to watch that. I'll stay and watch that. And they're like, no, you're too young. It's too scary. I got a twinge of nostalgia from it.
Nice. Yeah. And also the fact of taping it with a VCR on VHS.
Classic.
For those kids listening. Just that was, yeah. Did you ever tape stuff off the TV? Like,
oh, yeah.
Do you have like fond memories of that?
All the time.
Okay.
All the time.
Yeah, I feel pretty confident that I could recite the episode of The Simpsons, where Marge becomes a cop. I'm pretty sure I could recite that verbatim as it played. I can do it off the thing, but but because we taped it and I watched it so many times.
Yeah. My dad was a master at setting up the VCR to record shit.
Nice.
I remember when
The Springfield Connection, season 3, episode 23. Sorry.
Nice. I remember. So my dad worked for AT&T for years.
Right.
At the time, I want to say it was.
So they still have a landline.
Oh, they still have it. Yeah,
wow.
For real. Because my dad worked for a phone company for 30 some years.
Yeah.
But at the time, I want to say it was either Indiana Bell or Ameritech.
Okay.
Had some kind of deal with Disney.
Oh.
And so my parents, we got the Disney Channel for like super cheap.
Nice.
For like a year.
For those kids, a channel was like a streaming service that you paid for, but it was on your TV and you couldn't control when stuff came out.
Right? It just aired.
Yeah.
But so Disney would show Disney movies on there, like Beauty and the Beast and Cinderella and stuff like that. And
nice.
Instead of going and like buying the puffy case VHS, my dad would get like a 10-pack of blank movies, VHS tapes, and just record them off of the Disney Channel. That's
great.
how we would have a copy of Cinderella or Aladdin or whatever. Yeah, and I didn't give a shit. Like even with the commercials, I was like, okay, this is great. I can watch Cinderella whenever the hell I want. This is awesome.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I think X-Files.
Oh, nice.
Would air on. For a while, it aired on like Friday night.
Okay.
And so we always had something going on. And so we would miss it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you didn't have DVR back then. And so my dad would set it, like use the same tape every week to record the latest episode. And then we would watch it on like Saturday or Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
That's a lost art.
Oh, absolutely.
Setting up the VCR.
Oh, yeah. I remember when 24 was on. And I remember like one of my mom's friends from work like knew that I wasn't going to be able to watch 24 one week. Mm-hmm. And like with that show, like you miss a week.
Right.
Like, you miss a lot of the plot.
Yeah.
And so I remember it was season 3. I distinctly remember it was season 3. And like my mom's work friend like taped the episode for me. And so I had it on VHS. I don't remember the exact episode, but yeah.
That was like 2002, wasn't it?
I know. That was like 2003.
Dang.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That was coming out of, that was becoming a lost art at the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
But the actual episode of this was pretty good.
Yeah. It was fun.
Which I torrented and we watched digitally.
I watched it on my phone.
Yeah. I watched it on my laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I liked it. I think I liked it better as a teleplay.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't as cringy as I expected it to be.
Okay.
So yeah. So yeah.
I think it'd be cool as a short story. I think it'd be more compelling as a short story.
Oh yeah. So those are the 2 episodes that Stephen King wrote of Tales from the Dark Side, the TV show. And so that's our little preamble before we talk about Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. And so we're going to go into that now. I'm going to go ahead and play a clip from the trailer right here.
Stephen King, originator of Pet Sematary. Arthur Conan Doyle, author of Sherlock Holmes. Michael McDowell, creator of Beetlejuice. George Romero, director of Night of the Living Dead. Now, these 4 masters of everlasting horror bring to the screen 4 tales of overwhelming terror.
I warned them, but they wouldn't listen.
Tales of diabolical fate.
You promised you'd never tell!
Okay, so some things about Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. This comes from Wikipedia. Laurel Productions initially announced a sequel to the film in October 1990. A screenplay was written by the first film screenwriters Michael McDowell and George Romero, along with Gan Wilson. Segments planned included an adaptation of Robert Bloch's Almost Human, alongside adaptations of Stephen King's short stories Pinfall, which was originally planned for Creepshow 2, and Rainy Season. This sequel, however, never came to fruition. Pinfall, I do not believe has been collected anywhere. I think we talked about that in our Creepshow 2 episode. But Rainy Season, man, that I think is in Skeleton Crew, and Tiny, I'm assuming you're not familiar with it.
No.
Okay, so it has like the tried and true Stephen King setup of a wayward couple that are waylaid in a creepy town on a road trip in Middle America, and this town in this story is it's so freaking crazy. Basically, it's like the night of a ritual that happens like every I don't remember how long, like every 4 years or something. But I won't give away what happens, but basically it's where things fall from the sky and it is gruesome. And it's really, really cool. Yeah. I won't say anything more, but I think it's in Skeleton Crew, or it might be in Nightmares and Dreamscapes now that I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
But it's really cool, and it would have been cool to see that on film.
Yeah.
But yeah. Tiny, Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. There are 3 segments in this movie and a wraparound story. Do you want to talk and non-spoilers, and then if we have anything in spoilers, we can talk after?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll just go kind of chronologically through it, I guess. First, how did you feel about the wraparound story?
It was fun. I liked the movie better than the two episodes of the show. Okay, me too. I feel like the movie was much more in keeping with the fun campiness and like the over the topness. It felt more organic. Yeah, and it wasn't quite in the same vein as the 2 Creepshow movies, but it was still in the spirit of it, I guess. Yeah, it was the right spirit, and it felt pretty good. And it's ridiculous. It's a woman who is holding a boy captive. Yeah, to cook him. But he stalls her by reading stories to her. It's ridiculous, but so fun.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I was sitting there like watching it like, what? He's distracting her by reading her stories out of a book, and she's buying it. Yeah. It was just so fun. Like I was like, this is ridiculous.
And I think, was that Joey Lawrence? I think.
Yeah, Matthew Lawrence. Okay,
yeah. I don't know the Lawrences.
I recognized him from Mrs. Doubtfire. He's one of the kids in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun too.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was very bright. Like I don't know. Did you find yourself missing the kind of comic book sort of aesthetic?
Yeah, but I guess that wasn't the premise of it, you know?
Sure.
And so I though, like I said, both Creep shows, especially the first one, it was way more fun.
Oh, yeah.
And I like the comic book feel of it better.
Mm-hmm.
But this was more just like anthology stuff. This was more just straightforward anthology. It wasn't like based on comic books and like so I don't think it needed to be in there.
Right.
And like I said, it was still a fun, campy wraparound. It had a good spirit to it.
Yeah, I agree.
So.
I kind of wonder if it would have worked even better if they had some kind of shtick to it.
Yeah.
But I guess that would have been kind of tricky with because I believe at the time Tales from the Crypt was a thing, and that's based on EC Comics, and like they have a very particular kind of visual thing, which I mean was the basis for or the inspiration for Creepshow.
Yeah.
The aesthetic and everything. Which, by the way, you did have a check-in because you bought the Creepshow graphic novel.
I did. I haven't.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I thought I mentioned that last time. Though.
I don't think so. Did you?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
I haven't read it yet.
Okay.
But
yeah, me neither. I have it too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I also have a collection of EC Comics.
Oh, nice.
I haven't bought it yet, but I have it in my Amazon. I've been doing Christmas shopping and stuff like that
nice.
lately. But yeah, I plan on getting that just to satisfy some curiosity.
Nice.
Yeah.
I had a less than legal download of a bunch of EC Comics and like Stephen King comics and everything, and I had a program that could read it on my laptop and everything. Sweet. And then my laptop crashed and I lost everything.
Ah, shit.
So yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah. But anyway.
Well, I think the collection I have, there were a few different ones I want to say, but I think it was kind of expensive. I think it was like $40, $50.
Dang.
Which, that's not bad. I don't mind paying that, but yeah.
That's about the price of a dust cover for my mixer.
Nice.
Yeah, by the way, I'm probably not going to edit it out, but we laughed because Pizza kicked open the bedroom door and then got scared when it started to bounce back at her.
Those doors are scary.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She is a fierce predator.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so yeah, the wraparound story was a lot of fun. We'll talk a little bit maybe about the ending of it at the end of this episode, but for the most part, I thought it was pretty fun. It kind of did a decent job of establishing this weird mix of dark and light, like this very dark material, but also this kind of sunny and bright kind of everyday aesthetic of like this woman cooking dinner. So I appreciated it for that.
Yeah.
And I also liked that it kept coming back to it. Like,
right.
Kind of, because I think Creepshow 2 did the same thing, but to lesser effect.
Yeah.
But I almost feel like did Creepshow not really do that all that much, or am I mistaken?
No, they did. They went, I guess they didn't come back to the wraparound all that much.
Right, because that was just at the beginning and end.
Right.
With Joe Hill.
But they had the comic book theme.
That's right.
Which was really cool.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That was really cool in that movie. But yeah, I appreciate that they kept coming back to it and kind of building tension a little bit to an extent.
Yeah.
It had a timetable to it. So do you want to dive into the sections?
Yes.
Yes, the segments of the movie.
Segments, yeah.
Yes. So first up, we have Lot 249. Michael McDowell adapts Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's 1892 short story, Lot number 249. I don't really have a plot summary, but I can try to find one real quick. How did you feel about Lot 249 in Tales from the Dark Side, the movie?
I liked it. I was surprised. What's notable about it, I guess, now is that there's a lot of star power in it.
Yeah.
And these people were unknown at the time. Steve Buscemi, Christian Slater, Julianne Moore. Three big names now, but obviously at the time, nobody knew who the heck they were.
Yeah.
It was funny that they were all in the same segment together.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fun. I didn't realize it was a Sir Arthur Conan Doyle story.
Yeah.
Before, but it definitely has that feel to it.
Oh yeah.
But it's it's horror. It's interesting. I guess I didn't know. I guess I don't really associate Sir Arthur Conan Doyle with horror.
Yeah.
Because, Sherlock Holmes is more mystery, I guess, but there's, I guess a lot of those stories involve like murder, and
Yeah.
like Hound of the Baskervilles is pretty damn scary.
Oh yeah.
So I guess he does, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle employed quite a bit of horror throughout his career. I just never, for whatever reason, I never associated that with
Me
him.
neither.
But, but it fits. It totally fits. And this was just cool. I liked. It made me think of the Wooden Indian story from the second one, because it's kind of something coming to life, and it's an extension of fulfilling someone's desires, I guess, or whatever. You use a monster to do your dirty work for you, I guess.
It made me think of the Goosebumps story, The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb.
Nice.
Yeah. It blows my mind that was Julianne Moore. Like, it blows my mind. Like, I went back because I saw her name in the credits and I didn't recognize her. And then I went back and, like, I figured, like, oh, wait, maybe that wasn't her. Or maybe there was a different character. But, like, I just looked and, she played Susan. And I was like, I did not recognize her.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I think museum head director guy was notable audiobook reader George Guidall.
Oh, okay.
Who does the audiobooks for several of the Dark Tower books.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Taking over for Frank Muller.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it's funny because I need to go back and watch that segment again because I only saw his name in the credits.
Mm-hmm.
If I had paid closer attention, I probably would have, recognized his voice. But yeah.
I did think some of the character connections were a little goofy or a little hard to follow, because if maybe I misunderstood or misheard it, was Julianne Moore Christian Slater's sister?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a little confusing.
It was a little confusing as to why they hated Steve Buscemi's character.
Me too.
I guess it kind of came to light, but
yeah. A partial plot summary is a graduate student, Edward Bellingham, played by Steve Buscemi, has been cheated by two classmates, Susan, played by Julianne Moore, and Lee, played by Robert Sedgwick, who framed him for theft to ruin his chances of winning a scholarship for which they were competing. And then that brings about Bellingham's revenge plot.
Yeah.
And I want to say Christian Slater plays Andy, Susan's brother, in the segment. And I've got to say, the whole time I was like, oh, we've got a young Christian Slater. This is before he developed his cheap Jack Nicholson impression.
Yeah, right.
He's not bad. He's a fine actor, I guess, but just that always just kind of he's doing a Jack Nicholson impression in everything I've seen him in, save for Tales from the Dark Side, the movie.
I've got to say though, I have a soft spot for him in the movie Heathers.
Oh, I never saw Heathers.
I think that, I don't know if that was his first movie, but it was the first movie that made him big, and he's straight up I was doing a Jack Nicholson impression,
really?
And he wrote Jack Nicholson a letter and was like, hey, I was trying to be you in this movie.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Jack Nicholson never responded, apparently. Nice. I remember that because I dig that movie. I think it's a cool movie.
Nice.
And,
I never saw it.
He's cool in it. It's good. I'd highly recommend it. But
nice.
But yeah, he's totally just doing an impression, and he's open about it. So
yeah. So I was a little confused about what the kind of main plot of the episode was, but I thought it was a lot of fun. It was interesting to see Steve Buscemi play kind of an antagonistic character to an extent, or kind of, I don't know, there's not a very clear protagonist and antagonist in this movie.
Yeah.
But to play kind of a little bit sniveling, I guess, it was really interesting.
Yeah, I'd love to read the story.
Yeah. Oh, me too.
Yeah. I've never read any Arthur Conan Doyle.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah.
So.
I'm trying to think. Obsessive Viewer presents.
My Dear Watson.
Yeah, My Dear Watson. Yes, one of my favorite.
My Dear Podson.
No, my God, yes. Okay, yeah.
Damn it.
Okay, all right. Anthology horror podcast. You're gonna have to be put on hold for a while. But that actually reminds me, just in a brief aside about The Simpsons. There was in the episode Skinner's Sense of Snow, where the kids get snowed in at the school. So there's a big snowfall and everything. They wake up, they listen to the radio to listen to the school closings and everything. And a bunch of them get called and everything, and then they say, Springfield Elementary, my dear Watson Detective Agency is closed today.
Nice.
Springfield Elementary, my dear Watson.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So for those kids listening, you had to listen to the radio to find out if your school was closed due to inclement weather.
We have to keep doing that.
I know.
Oh my God. It's
Yeah.
funny because we have to explain it, and it's also funny because there's no one listening to us this Gen Z.
Right. I think there's one person listening to it that's Gen Z.
I kid.
Yeah. But yeah, so overall, I thought that this was a decent opening segment.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel about the creature effects of it?
It was fine. I mean, I liked the sarcophagus, I guess.
Mhm.
That was cool.
Yeah.
It was pretty standard mummy character. I guess I can wait for spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's another part of note that was
Okay.
but I'll bring it up in spoilers.
Okay. Yeah. I'm wondering if it's the same thing I'm going to think of
Okay.
or I'm going to talk about because it's very similar to something else we've talked about.
Okay.
Okay. But anyway, so yeah, Lot 249. It was a good opening segment. Did you feel like it was a good opening segment for the movie?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Good.
Totally, yeah.
Do you want to go on to the next one?
Yes, sir.
All right. So this one, this was like what I was excited for.
Okay.
Not because of the title, because it's Cat from Hell, which is adapted by George A. Romero from a 1977 Stephen King short story called The Cat from Hell. And The Cat from Hell was finally collected in Just After Sunset. And I read that, and I think I've mentioned it in a check-in previously, but man, that story is so awesome.
Nice.
It's so cool. It's really interesting because what I've been doing is I had been going through the short story collections in publication order just for just for funsies. And I'm gonna be doing that next year for the Church of King short story collections every week on Patreon at the $2 level. I hope I can keep that up and everything because I have been neglecting it, but I have all of January is ready to go and everything. But anyway,
Nice.
but what's interesting is that I had read Night Shift again recently, and Night Shift is his first short story collection from when he first started out. And it's a collection of a ton of like early Stephen King short stories. And this is where he is really like, it's pretty hardcore, the stuff that he's writing, relative to the rest of his stuff. And it's very, and I've talked about it before, but it's very like graphic and everything. And so it's interesting because like going through Just After Sunset, which is a short story collection that collects mostly short stories that were written almost immediately post 9/11, and one of which being written like I think weeks after 9/11. Very great story. But anyway, then you get Cat from Hell, which is this like 1977 Stephen King writing that's like, it's super graphic, it's super just crazy and insane. It's like Night Shift era Stephen King. So it's really cool to read that in context of that collection. But I had high expectations for this, and I'll save my comments until you give yours. So Tiny, what did you think of Cat from Hell?
I thought it was pretty intense, I guess. It was very silly. I mean, it's the premise is just silly as hell. But not necessarily like laugh out loud silly, I guess.
Yeah.
Not like the little lady trying to cook a kid and reads her stories. It's not as silly as that, but it's just like, really, we're doing this? And then you get there and like, we're doing this and it's kind of working. Why is this working? This is kind of nuts that this is working. It was just silly, but in a way that worked, I guess.
It plays it straight.
Surprisingly silly, I guess. I'm not sure how to quantify it, but it plays it straight, like you said, and it ends up working in a traditional storytelling way, which is just really, really kind of funny. It was surprising, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. It is like it. Because I was expecting it, I knew what to expect and everything, and I will say that it really delivers on it. Because when I read the story, I was like, okay, I know that this is adapted into Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, and I'm like, there's no way they're gonna do this. Like, there's no way that they can do this. I would love to see this happen, but there's no way they're gonna do that. And spoiler for the story and the segment, if you've read or watched one, but they did it, and holy crap, I was so filled with joy. I think it looked incredible. It was so just gross and awesome.
Yeah, right.
I really, really loved this segment.
Yeah.
Of note, did you recognize the old man?
Oh yeah, totally.
William Hickey.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. What did you recognize him from?
He was in a lot of stuff in the 90s, but most notably Christmas Vacation.
Oh yeah, Christmas Vacation.
The blessing.
That's right. Damn it. I didn't even I didn't even connect him to that because I associate him with the 90s sitcom Wings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was Carlton Blanchard.
Yeah.
I
don't remember him from Wings.
I have a question. If you drive on a parkway and you park on a drive, like he'd ask all these incessant questions and stuff. He's really good.
He was always an old man.
Yeah,
that's always what I remember him as.
Yep,
it's an old man.
Yeah. He was in. This is really random, but he was also in. I believe he was also in the first Academy Award-winning Best Picture, also titled Wings.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I think that information is correct.
Jeez.
Yeah. But I really liked it. Does it make you interested in watching or reading the short story?
Totally. Yeah, because I bet it would be better as a short story.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the kind of creature effects or the effects of it?
It actually held up surprisingly well. Given, this is 1980s movie technology, but I think that's to be expected with someone like George Romero involved. He's gonna bring it in that regards. It also, of note, I got flashes of the Father's Day segment from the first Creepshow movie.
Oh yeah,
just because they're kind of reclusive old people, rich, living in a family living in a big mansion, and they're all kind of miserable and terrible people, but it just kind of made me think of that segment from Creepshow 1.
Yeah. Oh, I totally get that.
Yeah.
There was no one dancing awkwardly though.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I don't think Wings was the first Best Picture winner, by the way.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if William Hickey was in it, so I may be wrong on all accounts.
Okay. Thinking of some other old guy.
Probably. Yeah. Did that just say he was in? No, he wasn't. No, it was Twisted. Okay, I thought he was in Twister. So anyway, this was. I'll spoil it for the end of the episode, but this was my favorite segment of the movie.
Cool.
And just I think that I don't know where this lands. We'll talk about this after the fact, but I don't know exactly where this lands as a movie in comparison to Creepshow and Creepshow 2, but I do. Yeah, William Hickey was not in Wings because that was in 1927.
Oh yeah, he was born in 27.
Oh yeah. Anyway, but I think that the enjoyment I got out of Cat from Hell is enough to really, really kind of sway this movie into a very favorable position for me.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I'll leave it at that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Do you want to go on to the last and final segment?
Yes.
All right. So Lover's Vow was written by Michael McDowell and based on the Yuki-Ono, or a spirit, or yokai in Japanese folklore, or more specifically, Lafcadio Hearn's 1904 version in Quaden Stories and Studies of Strange Things. So this is a strange story.
Yeah, for sure.
It is, let me see if I can find, a plot summary that isn't spoilery, but Preston is a struggling artist. He lives in a studio with a skylight through which a large stone gargoyle statue on the neighboring building peers down on his work table. Preston's agent calls, asking to meet him at a bar a few blocks away. The agent tells Preston that his artwork is unpopular and not selling, and then creepy stuff happens. Yeah. So this has a pretty interesting creature design in it.
Yeah.
That it's again kind of a little bit similar to Old Wooden Head, I guess, sort of.
Yeah,
too loosely,
a little bit.
But also just the creature effects reminded me again. Like, I mean, I'm gonna be talking about this. I've talked this show to death, but it reminded me a little bit of like the creature effects in Midnight Mass, and that kind of creature design.
Yeah, and
also a little bit of Gremlins.
Sure, yeah, for sure.
How did you feel about Lover's Vow?
So of the movie and of the 2 episodes, so of all 5 segments, this was my favorite. Actually.
Oh, nice!
Yeah, I thought this was a really cool story. Like if you take out the if you can really look past the campiness and the low budgetness of it, it's a really cool story. It's a great idea for a story.
Yeah,
I really liked it. I think, and I guess in some of the classic adaptations of this Japanese folk tale, I guess a lot of the time it's a ghost as opposed to a creature.
Yeah,
which makes it a little more it's a little more grounded in that regard, I guess. I think the whole gargoyle creature thing kind of was a more modern take on it and was a little more makes it a little more off-putting, maybe a little scarier, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think it as the creature as a ghost would be really cool to see. I think it's just a really cool idea for a story.
Me too. I
saw it coming as well. Like I thought it was
really
very predictable. I
had no idea.
Really?
I had no idea.
I totally saw it coming.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't even consider it. Granted, I wasn't paying as close attention to it as I wanted to.
Okay.
Because full disclosure, I watched this while I was working from home today.
Yeah.
But it was something that, like, I was very surprised with it. While it's not my favorite of the segments. It's obviously Cat from Hell, but it's a very close second, and it's mostly because of that ending. I was so just surprised and pleased with it. And yeah, and even the campiness of the creature effects, like the actual like. There's some creature effects at the end of it that I'm just like, oh, this is just uber cheesy, dated. It does not hold up.
Right.
But the actual transformation, like seeing the creature like appear, is really, really good for me.
A little Cronenberg-y.
A little bit.
Like
kind of some body horror stuff.
Like The Fly, the Jeff Goldblum, The Fly.
Yeah, what I've seen of it. I'm scared to watch that movie.
It's nuts.
Yeah, it's one that Mike assigned to me like 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, it's a good movie. You should watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should.
But yeah, also James Remar as like a sculptor artist was hard to buy.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like he's such a character actor. I just associate him with kind of more of a tough guy or like a G-Man type kind of guy. Just him as like a sculptor is just kind of tough to buy. That's my bias, I guess. But
sure,
I don't have an issue with it. I'm not saying it didn't work. It was just kind of funny.
But also maybe his performance doesn't really lend itself to that.
Yeah, I like James Remar. He's a good character actor.
Yeah. There was a line in this episode that I had to rewind it. And for the kids listening, rewinding I had to rewind it because I was like, what? It's this. Hopefully this isn't too spoilery, but there's a jump 10 years later.
Yeah.
And there's a line where a little girl, like the mother is like, we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary of the night we met. And she's like, the little girl is like, oh, was that when you thought daddy was going to pin you against the wall and rape you?
Yeah.
Like, what?
What the fuck?
What?
Yeah. That was shocking and not in a good way.
Yeah. No.
Right. Because they actually made like a 7-year-old girl say that line. Like,
yeah.
What the fuck?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah. Not great writing, but But yeah, I was just like, I had to rewind it. I was like, what? Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird.
Very weird. But overall, I really liked this segment.
Yeah.
Like I said, the creature effects were good. The plotting was pretty good. Yeah, but I just Cat from Hell all the way for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you? I'll save that for spoilers.
Okay.
We can do a quick spoiler section.
Yeah. Okay. Final thoughts on the wraparound story or about the Lover's Vow?
Yeah, just cool. I think it's a cool idea for a story. I'd love to like read especially like a Japanese interpretation of this.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool. I think it'd be really fun. I keep saying that as it'd be cool to read it as a short story, but
right.
I think this one totally has that that appeal. I'd love to read it. Yeah.
Nice. Me too. I would be interested to dig into kind of the original folklore stuff, like Japanese folklore.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are going to go into a brief spoiler section for this movie, and yeah, so we'll go into spoilers for Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. If you want to skip the spoilers, just check the show notes, or that'll probably be the end of the episode. So, thank you for listening. And we're going to go into spoilers for Tales from the Dark Side, the movie.
Tales of ruthless evil.
That cat has killed 3 people in this household.
I don't believe this.
Kill it, bury it, and bring me its tail.
Okay, Tiny. So spoilers for Tales from the Dark Side, the movie.
Yeah.
Do you want to go segment by segment?
Yeah, chronologically. I guess. Yeah.
So lot 249. How did you feel about the spoilers? The kind of the episode.
Yeah. So the part I wanted to talk about in spoilers was when Christian Slater kind of goes full crazy at the end, and he's like, it's just funny that the creature was foiled by an electric knife.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
I was just like, dude, get a machete and put some muscle into it. Like he literally like drops to his knees and he's like, like going through his leg. I was like, dude, this is, and I loved it. Like it was so dumb.
Oh yeah.
But in a really fun way. That was just funny. Like that was my favorite part of it. That was so silly and over the top.
Yeah, the ending for me, I agree with you there. That was pretty silly. But the ending for me, just felt way too similar to the ending of the Ted Danson and Leslie Nielsen segment.
Totally.
Was that Creepshow 1 or 2? I think it was 1.
It was 1. Yeah. Yeah. It was like damn near a ripoff.
Yo, absolutely.
I wonder if that's in Arthur Conan Doyle's story. Like that.
That's a good question. I'm curious about that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, the creature effects were great and everything. I thought it was good.
Right.
Yeah. Cat from Hell?
Yeah. So the whole cat emerging from the guy's throat is fucking cool. Like, so cool. I was like, oh shit, they pulled that off. And so cool. Given the 80s tech, or I guess 1990 technology, it holds up. It holds up pretty well. Yeah. Like I thought I'd totally watch that in a modern movie. Yeah. Like
at no point did I think that was a fake cat.
Right.
And I don't know how they did it.
I don't know either.
There's a part where it's coming out of the mouth, and like the way that the mouth is, there is like a rip in the cheek.
Yeah.
That's like it's like almost severed. And I'm just like that alone just like freaked me out for some reason.
Totally.
But it's interesting that is different from the short story, sort of. And I found that interesting because the I think Butler character, by the way, slight spoilers for the short story, but the Butler character in the movie, Gage, last name Gage, he dies in a car accident, I think, with the cat. That in the story is how the hitman gets killed.
Oh, okay.
Like he gets in a car accident and then the cat goes like burrows into his mouth and his intestines and all that.
Nice.
But I really like this alteration because it brings him face to face with William Hickey.
Nice.
And kind of has a nice conclusion to that.
Right.
Yeah. I really liked that.
Mhm.
I thought it was really cool.
And it's kind of poetic that like this guy was so terrified of the cat killing him that like what actually killed him was like shock.
Yeah.
Like, he just kind of has a heart attack or a stroke or something, and that's what actually kills him.
Yeah.
It's kind
absolutely
of some fun irony at the end there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then the third segment, Lover's Vow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was very surprised. Like when she screams like you promised or you made a vow or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit. Okay, that's really good. That's solid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was really into that. So you pegged it. You
yeah, I
figured it
totally
out.
saw it coming. Yeah. When like as soon as Ray Don Chong came on screen, I was like, oh, that's the creature.
Oh, interesting.
Which I'm not very good at that usually. I'm not usually good at picking up on things.
Yeah.
I kind of like to be along for the ride, but for whatever reason, I was like, yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. And sure
Nice.
enough,
Well done.
the effect. So again, the special effects or the visual effects were, campy 90s, 80s crap.
Yeah.
But I especially thought it was just so bad was when it was speaking.
Oh yeah.
Especially
sure.
when like at the end when it transforms and it's like getting ready to kill James Remar. And,
Yeah.
and he's like, I love you so much. And it's just like, I loved you too. I'm like, God damn. What the fuck? I can't take this seriously right now.
When the kids turn into the gremlin like creatures and then they fly up out of the skylight.
Yeah.
I was just like I was like, okay, you're losing a little bit of goodwill. And
Yeah.
I mean it's a bias from us,
Right.
but I mean it's because it's been almost over
31 years.
31 Jesus.
Yeah.
31 years. But it's something that's just not like it was a little silly for me.
Right. And plus I was wondering, I don't know if this is intentional or if you picked up on this or even care. The creature, I guess, was the creature female or was the creature a male? I got kind of a like when it spoke, its voice seemed kind of male to me.
Yeah,
but
I want to
obviously
say it was female because I think when the body comes out, like you can see like breasts.
It has girl parts.
I think so.
I guess I missed that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll have to rewind that part.
Because the gargoyle, when it was like frozen, seemed like a dude. Also,
oh yeah,
like it had a beard. I guess maybe I'm misremembering, or I wasn't paying close enough attention. But
yeah, I don't know.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Right,
but, you know, Ray Don Chong is a woman, and he gets her pregnant and they have kids.
Right.
So
yeah,
I'm not commenting on gender fluidity or anything.
Right.
That's not. It's kind of something I noticed. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tales from the Dark Side. The movie is canceled.
It's woke.
Yes,
it was woke before its time.
Yes. So the wraparound story, though, Tiny.
Yeah.
How did you feel about how that wrapped up?
It was great. Just
nice.
So, I mean, again, you kind of knew it was going to happen. Like,
yeah,
it's he trips her with marbles and she falls and impales herself, and he throws her in the oven. God damn, that's great. Like, just
I like that. I don't think I liked that it was like he was. I mean, I guess I like the idea of him like telling the story, as he's doing it and everything. But I'm just like, okay, that's. I wish that it was a little more clever. I wish it was something like. I wish that he had planned that from the beginning.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But it was satisfying though. It was a nice happy ending.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool stuff.
Yeah.
I think of the 3 creep shows, I guess. This is probably my least favorite.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but
nice.
It's still fun. I'm glad we watched it.
Me too. Yeah. I think that this is probably this is above Creepshow 2, but below Creepshow 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it goes Creepshow, Tales from the Dark Side of the Movie, and Creepshow 2.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that will just about do it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we are next. I don't know what we're gonna do next. But check out Patreon for my Green Mile stuff coming soon. $2 level, I have the book reaction, and then at $5 level, I will have a commentary track for the movie. And I've got up a bunch of Stephen King stuff up there too, and other stuff for Obsessive Viewer and Anthology. So check that out, patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. And Tiny, what do you want to do next?
I don't know. As far
'Cause
as Tower
we're gonna-
Junkies, I don't know. I kind of want to do like some obsessive viewer potpourri or something.
Oh, yes, let's do that.
Just because it's been a long time.
Yes.
and I've been watching some stuff. and
Yes. Do you have time next week to do a potpourri side?
I think so. I think so. I should.
Okay.
Yeah, I should.
All right, well, check that out on Obsessive Viewer, and yeah, for Tower Junkies, I don't know. We do need to do Dreamcatcher. Oh, we
Yes.
need to have Kim C on for Colorado Kid and Joyland.
Yeah.
Duh. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll organize that. We'll figure all that out. We'll be back soon. But yeah, check out Patreon, like I said, and I'll go ahead and start playing us out. And yeah, so we'll see you guys next time, whenever that is. Check out our other shows, Anthology and Obsessive Viewer. And yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. Long days and pleasant nights.
And may you have twice the number.
And now, here's a short clip from our Patreon exclusive RSS feed. To hear the full clip and more exclusive Patreon content, go to patreon.com/obsessiveviewer and become a patron at the minimum rate of $1 per month. Thank you and enjoy. Ariana DeBose's performance as Anita that really cuts to the emotional core of the movie. And like I said, I rated it 4 stars out of 5. And I also want to mention that the actor Mike Feist, he plays Riff in the movie, and holy crap, is he amazing. Like him and Ariana DeBose are scene stealers all the way. Like I said, her performance as Anita is really, really pivotal to the emotional core of the story, because there are elements of the story where the tragedy comes to play out, and she is kind of at the center of that in a pretty big way, and it really helps to bring this level of character to the struggle between the Sharks and the Jets, and it's really well done. It's incredibly well done. But I do want to mention that this is just stunningly gorgeous. It is one of the best looking films of the year that I've seen.
This podcast was edited and produced by Matt Hurt and presented by ObsessiveViewer.com. You can find links to all of our shows at ObsessiveViewer.com/podcasts. For exclusive bonus content, including reviews, commentaries, and B-roll episodes, you can subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.